Take two.
I couldn't get my lighter to. Imagine middle of the show.
Eating a fruit roll up.
So you said that like that Carson was trying to like jump in.
Okay. As soon as you hit record, I had him put headphones on. You know, I was like, oh, just chill, whatever. I figured he'd be asleep by then. But he started laughing. Like he started laughing. He's literally right there. Yeah. He started laughing. So I'm like, shh, you know. And it was almost like he started like fucking with me. He was like laughing harder. And I don't know if you saw it at the beginning of the video. I muted myself for a second and I leaned over because I go to him. I was like, stop it. I'm not on mute. And he was so fucking offended. Like, you should have seen the look on his face. Cause I never yell at him, you know.
So you're in the video like mute, like
I was like, and
I didn't see you do that.
And I got like the mean like look, and I never talked to him like that, but I was like, stop, I'm not on mute. And he was so fucking offended. He literally, I am not shitting you, for 30 minutes, literally, he was sitting there like where he was going and then looking back at me like so fucking mad at me. And I couldn't do anything about it. I'm like, I don't know. I told you I'm doing a video. So he was very mad.
I was trying to like smoke my cigarette off screen, so I'd just be like that. Then go right back in.
Yeah, I couldn't resist smoking a cigarette. It's like either I quit or I smoke, you know, every 15, 20 minutes.
What is that?
She's eating acid.
What was that? Is that like a gummy?
These fruit roll-ups, and
they got hashtag fruit roll-ups.
Yeah, they have all little like
I haven't had one
like
of
a bunch of little things on them.
Remember Fruit by the Foot? That was my jam.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to get the box with the gushers.
Carson showed me it.
The Fruit by the Foot.
Yeah.
And this is in like 9th grade, 10th grade, like all the stoner kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can roll up blunts out of the gushers, you know, the Fruit by the Foot and the other one, whatever.
Did it taste good?
Oh yeah, it's great, you know?
Because the gushers have like the goo in the middle. Yeah. Sarah's over there picking out.
That stuff's got to be
snacks
for you. It's got to be as bad as eating plastic.
Oh, it probably,
like,
yeah.
I remember when I was
need something crunchy.
Going to Blockbuster and getting those little candies.
I used to get the jelly beans.
They'd have all sorts of crazy shit.
They had the Harry Potter jelly beans and they all tasted disgusting.
Dude,
whenever I snack, I need like something sweet and soft and then something salty and crunchy. Like perfect balance.
Oliver's.
Yeah, candy store.
They got this thing in the center there. It's like a sugar dispenser. Like multiples of different colors. Like them things that used to come in the big tubes when we were kids.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Stick type thing. Yeah. So I was drinking out my Star Wars container trying to hide that I was drinking beer.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
That's fucking funny.
But I'm like, well, if I'm doing a holistic review, I probably shouldn't be smoking a cigarette and drinking
beer. Yeah.
Not the best look, but.
Well, we should like you know have.
That's why we're holistic.
About all this different stuff because there's anything's except the show, you know. So like there's multiples of different podcasts. Like they drink all throughout of it,
right?
You know, but they're cool. They're not like getting crazy, but they're like having beers or they're, you know, they're indulging in whatever. But it's going good. Or there's the ones where they don't have that at all, or once in a while they have a shot of whiskey. Like it's not like a taboo thing, but it depends on the audience that we're trying to get at.
Have you ever watched the Jesus and Meryl ones?
No.
Oh, they're hilarious. We're gonna watch that podcast. They're hilarious, and they eat like you just gotta watch it.
A huge.
What about? I gotta stop chewing chips because I can't hear you guys anymore.
Do your crunch.
All I can hear is my crunching.
No, but that was a good episode. I was happy with it.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I just ramble a lot.
No, I mean, you have a lot of information.
No, that's good. That's what it's for.
I went so far left from like the introduction.
Everybody wants a rabbit hole.
Yeah, and like from my point of view, like I didn't think anything of it. Like you were just doing your conspiracy piece.
Yeah, your normal.
And it was only like
would
when you had said you're like, oh, I'm like way down the rabbit hole. And then I was like, oh, okay, we're down the rabbit hole. But really it just feels like that's what it is. Like that's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about. So it just feels like normal, like right on par, you know?
Right. Yeah, and like some of the things I said, I was trying to like vaguely kind of describe like the moments like that are happening presently, like in our
Right.
moment, without being like too specific or like identifying that like I'm on coming from some sort of angle.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm not biased, but
it's hard.
Right.
Because personally, whatever these sides are that have like popped up, I guess, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where both are kind of representing like the same thing. It's all civil liberties, whether it's speech or rights. It's us against. It's a small man against the government.
Yeah. Yeah.
How they're able to divide these groups, because a lot of the grassroots groups, they're all cool.
they're
with
working
each
together.
other, but it's the guys on top, like I said, that are getting these large endorsements. Like the dude from Proud Boys is allegedly an FBI informant,
Ooh.
Enrique whatever, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of other stuff on the other side with BLM and Antifa.
Well, I trust a lot more people.
Militias, and it's all
right.
nuts.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're using it against us to divide the people that see
Oh, yeah.
the truth. That's exactly what's happening right now in the media from every fucking angle. They're trying to rip apart all the progress that was made, especially by people like, you know, InfoWars, and a lot of people have gotten ripped off of the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Just
like,
drop some ashtrays.
I actually,
like
okay.
this week.
So there's this lady, this intuitive healer that I used to do like some virtual assistant like work for her and stuff. So, but she has this group, this Facebook group, like for, you know, like spiritual stuff. And she messages me the other day. She was like in Facebook jail because of something that she posted. She doesn't ever post. Well, she doesn't ever post anything like super controversial. You know what I mean? She said like she hashtagged like Great Awakening or something, and they locked her out of Facebook for like days
for that.
Yeah,
I feel like that's gonna be growing more of them.
Oh yeah,
people kind of losing the right of speech. I know there's a lot of crazy stuff being said out there that is like no one wants to hear anyways, but we can't have that infringement on your ability to kind of.
If it happens to one person, it's going to happen to everybody across.
And it's a fine line though, because I can understand like, okay, you have freedom of speech to be able to say whatever you want, but there's also that like aspect like you can't scream fire in a theater, like it's certain things are safety issues.
Yeah.
Well, you can't sign a disclosure agreement after, and you recorded it, and it was a prank. You know, like it's America. Like, you know, everything's crazy. Like,
well, it's supposed to be like as long as it doesn't cause bedlam, but almost anything you could say. I could say I don't like blondes, and that could cause bedlam. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's something that's gonna get wrapped up and just used against everybody, and it's hard to like even approach the subject.
Right.
Yeah. Honestly, it's stuff that you just like. That's where like I just prey on things because you know what I mean? There's so much that's out of our control. There's so much we're not even aware of. Like, I mean, come on, with COVID and nobody gets a flu anymore. Nobody's dying from anything else. It's all COVID. Like and you don't know what agenda, like what's the true agenda.
Well, that's why like I like to listen a lot more to people that aren't any far away. You can see them straddling the line of all the different ideologies, not trying to just stick to one side because they chose one side. And instead people that are like thinking independently, like for example, I think it was Ice Cube. Of course, it's in the middle of like, you know, a civil rights, you know, upheaval right now. And he had agreed that if Trump wanted to meet with him, he would sit down and have a discussion with Trump about, you know, that aspect of things, and
Yeah.
and people were mad at him. They're like, "Oh, you a Trump supporter? You're gonna go sit with Trump?" He's like, "I'm gonna go sit with whoever's in charge in government and give my opinions of what's the best way to unite things." He's like, "I don't care if it's Obama in office, if it's Trump in office, if it's Biden in office. So just because I'm gonna go sit down and have a meeting with Trump about all these things that are happening with civil rights movements and civil liberties," he's like, "that doesn't mean I'm a Republican necessarily or a Trump supporter," which he may or may not be.
Right.
He chooses not to disclose that. But I like the fact that he's like, I'm talking to whoever's in power. It's not even about left and right for me. So like I kind of gain respect for that, but he got a lot of hate for that.
Yeah, like Kim Kardashian too. When she like met with Trump and stuff like that, but she's like, I'm doing what I have to do to have innocent people pardoned and like to help people. So but she got a lot of stuff for that too.
It's
not that I like
how the narrative can just flip like so quickly depending on the angle it's given to you in the news or by whoever's saying it, and then multiples of the same broadcasts repeat the same thing. It's the same person and the same words are coming out of their mouth like every 5 minutes.
Well, all those broadcasts are previously pre-written and sent on down. Like I know back a lot of the even earlier Fox stuff, when a story would hit, they would make sure that certain verbiage was used. Like instead of using a gunman, like make sure you call it a sniper, or like certain terms that they're like, you have to use this in all of our broadcasts because whatever spin they're trying to put on it. I'm not just saying just Fox News does that. Any news station, they all have a spin no matter what you're watching. It doesn't matter who you're watching. Even if you're just talking to a friend, they have their own ideology of how the fight that they are talking about went. They're going to put their spin on it that goes along with their preferences.
Yeah.
I believe that like I said, whatever both of these factions are at the top of them, they're both controlled by the same piece somehow. And so chaos to bring down whatever progress that was made.
Have you heard I think that we've talked about it before, like after one of the podcasts though, but we hadn't like recorded it, but the idea that like the aliens essentially are like the keepers of the earth, like there's a galactic federation, right? And it's like they're the ones at the top of all of it. And it's almost like, so because how they say Earth is a school, right? And it's almost like even the negative, even the control, the manipulation, all of those things, it's as if like they're allowing it to happen in order for us to learn to be in our power, to like harness our power and use our power. So it essentially puts you in the position where you have to learn to use your power.
Yes.
Essentially as souls, we can instantly like manifest things, right? But if you don't have the limitations, it's almost like Earth, like 3D. It's like, and like they say the moon is like, it just like dampens down your manifestation, right? Where it actually takes time, there's space, there's things you have to do. You have to work really hard to manifest something, where outside of Earth, it's not, it's like right there. And it's like some souls can manifest their own nightmares essentially, and that affects everyone. And so it's essentially like people come here to learn to really focus and harness and not manifest their own nightmare essentially. Like they you're
in control. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, you sort of choose the timeline that you're going to go on.
Can you imagine where like point A was?
Like before this?
Like this structure, the school, the setup, like to know the history of that
would be amazing.
Right.
Well, honestly, we can't even comprehend it, and that's probably why we don't know yet.
That's why we don't. Yeah,
it's gonna eventually be a greater, whatever you want to call it, the rapture, a greater awakening. I think one day, maybe it's when we die, we're gonna just figure it out.
But to think like the system is set up purposefully, like I can't like imagine that of like how things work now in the reality that we live in. If there's this like divine structure behind it, I don't imagine that they would like make this purposefully. Like all of the insanity that's happening.
Maybe things
Right.
got out of hand. Like
Right.
when you
Well,
try to
and
grow a wheat
that is
plant,
part
and it
of
just grows way bigger than you're expecting. Got out of hand.
what's that? What's that?
I was like, maybe like the seeds were just set, and then things kind of just got out of hand, and we're just being
Honestly
absorbed.
though, no, but seriously, that's like one of the theories essentially that there was a purpose behind it and things have gotten out of control and out of balance. And so that's why they say, like, if you read like on Dolores Cannon, right, she says, like, if you ever notice, like, the kids are so different these days.
Well, every
They're
generation is like that.
Completely different.
Like our
every
grandparents would say the same
generation.
thing about our parents.
Yeah, kids are coming in more sensitive, more intuitive,
We also have a
more
technology
empathic.
difference that has never happened before.
And it literally is like, because there's this law, right? There's like no interference, right? It's free will. And it's almost like things have gotten out of control. Things have gotten out of balance. It has become just a place where souls are suffering, essentially, unnecessary, like to unnecessary lengths. And so basically it's saying like that she's saying there's like waves of new souls come in. It's like there was this clarion call from Earth, like when the atomic bomb went off, like, and all of these souls like sort of flooded in and started incarnating into Earth, because that's the way that you, like, essentially to come in and change the world, change Earth from the inside. So it's like essentially following the universal laws and the laws about, Earth. But it's sort of like a workaround to help. So it's like a lot of souls have come in and incarnated, and like they're saying now, like over the next one of the people I watch, over the next like 3 years or so, or the next few years, that like a lot of there's another wave coming in. Like you'll see a big boom of babies coming in over the next few years that are, of the light, souls of the light. They're coming in, and they say like these kids, the questions they're going to ask, the leadership roles they're going to take, like they're going to sort of help that arc, you know what I mean? And there's so much that goes into it, right? There's
it makes me think of something I heard, that because of like the free will aspect, that the angels would say to God, like, why do you love these humans so much? They disobey, they don't believe, they turn away from you. And he would say, well, because they have free will. So when they do love me, when they do come to me, it's of choice, not, it's not even being in full no. It's just out of like the heart of loving something that you don't even have a physical grasp on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just it's so interesting because there's so much that goes into it. Like, because I'll go down the rabbit holes too, but it's essentially a different, like, it's just sort of another rabbit hole, right? Like one over here, essentially. But it's like there's the idea of twin flames, right? They're higher vibrational beings, right? And so there's this idea that like twin flames aren't always actually meant to like be together, right? But they're like very, very triggering to you. But so a lot of people will get like karmic relationships confused for like twin flames, right? But it's interesting that there's even the theory that like a lot of souls are coming in, like twin flame children are coming in next, where like twin flames have gone on a process of coming into union and things like that, and then like twin flame babies are coming in, which are there's a level of vibration that you can reach in union or when that happens that you just can't reach otherwise, essentially. And so it's almost like it's like twin flame babies are coming in now because they're of an even higher vibration that can't be reached otherwise.
Are these like complete different spirits, or are they like incarnated from our past?
So what they say is like a twin flame soul. A twin flame is like essentially one soul that splits off into two people.
So like when you find your twin flame, your vibrations will match up.
Right. And it's sort of like you're a mirror, but they're literally a mirror where it's like you're literally made to trigger all of your deepest trauma, right? But that's why people will get like karmics mixed up with twin flames, because you're so
you have more than one twin flame.
So a lot of the times they say it's really that it's not always essentially specifically two soul, like one soul, like there's only one twin flame, right? It's just sort of an energy that you reach, because there's the divine feminine, and so there's the low battery popped up. It's 20%. I got some time, but it's an energy that you step into, right? Because there's the divine masculine and there's the divine feminine energies. That's the yin and yang, right? The masculine is and it doesn't mean you have to be female to be a divine feminine, right? But it's a vibration that you step into when you're in union in yourself, when you bring the yin and yang into union with yourself. And they say like, essentially that's when you come into union sort of as that like twin flame, where it's a divine masculine and divine feminine in a healthy way coming together, and this union of and they just say it's a completely different level of unconditional love that you really just don't reach otherwise, right? Unless you're truly in union, like inside, it's just another level.
I think about like when you first meet somebody, first impressions, whether or not the first impression verbally is in click with yourself, you can usually sum up your vibrations with somebody pretty immediately. And I think that's where the term first impression really comes from, not what someone's saying, because you probably met plenty of people when you first hung out with them, it was probably not somebody you would normally click with, but you just naturally just want to keep hanging out with that person.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's the vibes, like, and we're so much more aware of it today. Like we talk about it. It's the vibes or chemistry, right? If you think about it, we really refer to it so much more than we realize. It's the waves, man. But it's like we use these terms and these phrases and these ideas. We just don't realize what they mean. But the more you learn about those things, like us as energetic beings, being in control of energy, being able to manifest things, you start to realize that we kind of have always known these things, but maybe we've just been out of touch, so you learn it and then you realize we've always known that it's called chemistry between two people. It's the vibrations essentially. So, and that's interesting. It's interesting. I am always fascinated by that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm all about
collective consciousness.
Yeah. Like, collective, ourselves as energy.
Actually reminds me, like, when I was looking up some of the stuff about mushrooms, like, some of the stuff I was reading up on reminded me of that movie Avatar, how like the tree connects with everything. And it made me kind of think of like, if you go back to like way back with medicinal things and how it connects with the world, like where they would come from with it. And they kind of looked at mushrooms, kind of how in the movie Avatar was with the tree that connected to everything and everybody. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool movies that like just show all the crazy symbolism with the psychedelics and mushrooms. There's this old Disney movie that's banned. I forget the name.
There's actually quite a bit of banned Disney stuff.
Yeah. These kids, they're going on a journey.
I believe that.
To somewhere else. And, they're going through the creepy woods and like the old school Pinocchio type looking creepy movies. Stuff.
Yeah.
They're going through the forest and there was this glowing substance that would be like dripping off the trees and it would hit the kids and then they start yawning and getting all tired. It's like poppies. And euphoric looking and their eyes get dilated and now the trees are talking and all this stuff.
So it's like a Alice in Wonderland type psychedelic.
It's like Winnie the Pooh, right? The honey that he's eating is psychedelic honey.
Like the writer itself, like meant for it to be that.
Well, yeah, like, and there is honey that is psychedelic. Like the bees cultivate wherever they get the pollen from and make the honey. It's like a honey you can eat and trip off. And if you look at like the Disney ride of the Winnie the Pooh when it starts, watch it on YouTube, and he's going through. and everything's cool and fine and cartoony, and then he gets the honey, and then it gets crazy and colors, and everyone's floating and like
I can taste colors.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm very appreciative of our senses and how they work, and I don't think that I would want to taste a color. I just don't imagine, I don't imagine ever wanting to like smell music.
Sound. You don't want to see the sound.
Me and Sarah are on the same page. I don't need to see
it. I don't, that shit's fucking, it's trippy. It's freaky. I can't even smoke weed. Like I literally like, I got really high because I could smoke like a little bit of like indica and like chill out and laugh. But then there's a certain point where shit starts getting weird.
Right. I get stuck.
But yeah. And my thing is like your thoughts, like you can literally see your thoughts more than you can see
somebody lace your stuff
what's happening around you. It sounds like there's this constant buzzing, like just white noise, like in your in my ears.
See me, I'm actually just allergic. I'll like if I smoke some weed, I'll throw up. My ears will turn bright red, and I'll have hot flashes. Like I'm really allergic.
Mine feels like when I smoke weed, I feel like I'm having a psychedelic experience if I get too high. It's not, things don't stay put.
See, my reaction is off of one hit.
Yeah, mine is, it's like it'd have to be a couple, but it's everything. So like I start seeing faces and shit. It's so weird.
Your stuff is laced.
But it's happened so many times where other people smoke it and they're fine. And they're fine. And then it's weird. Like my brother's the same way too. Like he can't smoke it. But one of my brothers is fine, but then one of them, he doesn't like it either. It's like the same thing. Well, and I'm like, I think my mind is just must already be like, you know, a little bit trippy that it can't handle that. That's just what I assume.
Yeah, I think it's like how much you like it. Like weed is definitely a culture beyond like the medicinal purpose, you know? So
right.
During periods where like I hadn't smoked in like 2 years or something, and then I get back on, you know, some medicinal weed, I take a couple hits. It's the same thing.
Right.
Just I don't know. I'm a part of the weed, like
yeah. I mean, and I think it affects
what it does. Like the actual, it's therapeutic for a lot of people to grind it, roll it, prepare it. Just kind of like being a cigarette smoker, it's easier to switch to a vape because it's the constant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like instead of cold turkeying it, I feel like with weed, the ritual of smoking it is addictive almost.
Oh yeah. And I think that's one of the things that truly, I think it truly affects people different. You know what I mean? I think people feel different. And that's why some people will get anxiety attacks. Some people, it calms them down. But one thing I learned in school is that weed is in its own class, and it is a hallucinogen. It is technically a hallucinogen. It's not like in the hallucinogen category, but it's not in the other categories either. It's in its own because it can have hallucinogenic effects. But I think it just
eat it. When you eat it, your body metabolizes the THC into another chemical. That's where you get the, like if you had an edible, like you would be faced like tripping, you know. But I mean, you could definitely, I could see people reaching that too from like if they're not familiar with it and it's a very potent strain, like you'll probably get trippy off it.
It reminds me of like back when we used to have dare. I don't know anybody who's had dare classes. They're just like back then they're just like, you smoke weed, you're gonna end up doing crack and meth. Like it's like gateway drug.
Right.
Weed is so bad, and like nowadays it's like legal like all over the place medically at least.
Weed was my gate closed drug. That's what that was.
I think the way that the propaganda movement went, they made marijuana the gateway drug. Like they marketed it as the gateway drug. All this stuff is advertisement. Everything
right. They're saying don't do it, but it's advertising. It's like when you used to have like the sex education classes. You learn so much stuff that you weren't even wondering about before they start talking about it. You're like, wait a minute.
Remember those weird movies?
I can go grab a condom from Planned Parenthood? What?
Remember
Yeah.
those weird movies they would show us when we were kids? Like in like 4th and 5th grade, like the like coming of age movies, or like the no square movies. Like
right.
the
Oh yeah.
weird-
The weird,
the
like
weird,
old school, like
yeah,
1970s looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
showing you how to use like deodorant and shit. Like they'd separate the classes. Like the boys would have to go to one room.
Oh yeah, and the girls had to go to
another
another room to learn about
Yeah.
women's reproductive system.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of the Chappelle show where he's like telling the kids, like those markers, you can get high off of those, take the cap off and sniffle.
I remember the kids sniffing markers.
And then the kid's like, wouldn't have thought about it before that.
Kids eating glue. I remember in 4th grade, kids putting like Elmer's glue on like the heater in the classroom, and it would dry, and they'd peel that shit off and eat it.
And then like duster became a thing, computer cleaner.
I always wonder, like, what was it with sniffing glue? What effect did that have? What effect does that have?
I have no idea. I've never done it. I've never done
I'm
it.
like, why didn't I
One of
try
us can
sniffing
say.
glue?
I know, like in the 80s, like bums would get some sort of like rubber cement, and they would dry it out and then get it and burn it, and then like inhale the fumes, or they like cans of rubber cement and like huff it, like or huff glue and paint. That's a whole that.
So like with the duster, I had some friends that would do duster, and they would so it's computer cleaner, if you've ever seen computer cleaner, and you inhale it, and then they would just hear like a wah wah wah.
Yeah, it's your
Like,
brain
do you
cells
hear that? I'm
dying.
like, oh.
Oh man.
But there's all different types of stuff up there. But it's
Yeah.
getting late. Thank
Yeah.
you for tuning in to our after hours show. Hope it was as fun for you as it was for us.
Yeah.
This is our first time doing it, so we're gonna keep doing the after hours special.
After hours.
Yeah.
One of
fun.
our episodes.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Kind of where the
that's a
juicy
wrap.
stuff comes. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Rat.
Night, guys.